hit like and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Peace, family. This is your brother Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we host Night School, where we break down the most controversial subjects, the most engaged debates, the most interesting topics going on in the world today. And tonight is no different, except that we're doing it about 12, almost 18 hours later than normal. We will still be on tonight at the normal time of 10:30. But last night, due to a few reasons, we weren't able to air, but I wanted to make sure that I was in contact with everybody and that you all got the stories that you all absolutely want and absolutely deserve. And so I want to just very quickly, we're only going to be on for a few minutes, but I want to break down the stories that we missed on last night's Night School. So we're going to start right away with Benjamin Netanyahu. Oh my God. A chilling threat was made against the world's top war crimes prosecutor. And it came from somebody who was tied to the Israeli government. According to Middle East Eye, the ICC chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, was warned that if he didn't back off the arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and ex-defense minister Yoav Gallant, that he and the court would be, quote unquote, destroyed. The threat came during a secret May meeting in The Hague with Nicholas Kaufman, who is a British-Israeli lawyer linked to Netanyahu's inner circle. Anyway, Kaufman told Khan that there was an authorized way out, a legal maneuver to reclassify the charges as confidential, which gives Israel private access to challenge them without any public scrutiny. Shocker. But the real bombshell, Kaufman warned, and I'm going to give a quote, an alleged quote: "If more warrants are coming for far-right ministers like Itamar Ben-Gvir or Bezalel Smotrich, all options are off the table. They will destroy you." Now let that sink in. The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court threatened face-to-face by somebody representing the very government he's investigating for war crimes. Can you imagine that? Anyway, Khan and his wife, who was also present, confirmed that they took it as a direct threat. And the timing couldn't be more suspect. Just 2 weeks later, the Wall Street Journal reported new allegations of sexual misconduct against Khan, allegations that he strongly denies, but that forced him nevertheless to take an indefinite leave. This comes as Netanyahu is facing global arrest warrants. He's accused of crimes against humanity because of Israel's brutal genocide in Gaza. And of course, he has his own personal stuff that we could talk about as well, but we won't right now. Anyway, still, he managed to fly to the United States to have talks with Donald Trump, using airspace from countries legally obligated to arrest him under the Rome Statute, which is from the International Criminal Court, or the ICC. UN official Francesca Albanese called out Italy, called out France, and called out Greece for giving Netanyahu safe passage, demanding that they explain why they broke international law to protect a wanted man. And shout out to Francesca Albanese from the UN, who has consistently been a voice of moral clarity, intellectual rigor, insight, legal precision. She's so fire, so dope, so honest, so principled. Anyway, if Karim Khan was really targeted and threatened into stepping down, who's next? That's the question, right? I mean, we're talking about a situation in which the head of the International Criminal Court is being threatened by the person being investigated. I mean, can you imagine? I hate to use a pop culture reference, but imagine like if Diddy's lawyers were caught threatening the judge, right? I mean, that's basically what's or the prosecutor. That's basically what's happening here. The International Criminal Court is designed to investigate and respond to war crimes. Now, we also have the International Court of Justice through the United Nations, which is also a mechanism that was appealed to. Shout out to South Africa for making that happen, to hold Israel accountable for its actions in Gaza. So you have international legal bodies designed to hold people accountable that are being managed and policed, not by the quote unquote good guys, as if there's such a thing in this world, and not just the bad guys, but the bad guys who are under investigation at the moment. This is why many of us don't trust the ICC or respect the ICC in its historic actions, because the ICC always manages to get Africa. The ICC always manages to trap Latin America. They used to jokingly call the ICC the ACC, of the African Criminal Court, because that was the only people they lock up. United States, nope. UK, nope. France, nope. Germany, nope. Israel, nope. Some of the biggest purveyors of war crimes and crimes against humanity and other violations of international law are not held accountable. This is the problem. This is the challenge. This is the crisis. So something needs to happen. And I don't want to brush past the fact, once again, that Netanyahu flew here with the oversight and the approval of the very countries who are legally charged, tasked with holding him accountable by arresting him. International law is only as good as its enforcement. And it's only enforceable to the extent that the international community wants to enforce it. So just keep that in mind as we talk and think about not just Israel, not just Netanyahu, but the ICC and international law more broadly. We're going to have a whole investigation or conversation on that very, very soon. Anyway, here's another story that I want to get to that I found really disturbing. Fox News host Greg Gutfeld is once again under fire, this time for turning one of the darkest, nastiest, ugliest, most vile ideologies in history into a punchline. During a recent segment on The Five, Greg Gutfeld brushed off comparisons between modern GOP rhetoric and Nazi behavior by making the controversy into a joke. Gutfeld suggested that Republicans should reclaim the word Nazi the same way Black Americans reclaimed the N-word. The moment sparked immediate backlash online. I mean, viewers, rightfully so, slammed the segment for its racism, for its racist undertones, for its racist overtones, for its historical ignorance, for its casual cruelty. One user wrote, if these are the thoughts they're willing to express on national TV, imagine what they say behind closed doors. Another one called it, quote, gross and highly disturbing, pointing out the microaggressions, the racial stereotyping, and Gutfeld's bizarre attempt to co-opt a genocidal term as a joke. Now, let's be clear. The Nazis murdered 6 million Jews and millions of others. Suggesting that label could or should be used casually, redemptively, much less as a punchline, is deeply offensive to the memory of the victims and the communities that were affected then and are still affected now. This isn't edgy humor. I know Greg. I've known Greg for years. I like Greg. Worked with Greg. This is too far. This is reckless. This is dangerous. This is disgusting. Take a listen for yourself.
Nazi this, not. This is why the criticism doesn't matter to us when you call us Nazis. Nazi this, Nazi that. You know, I'm beginning to think they don't like us. You know what? I've said this before. We need to learn from the blacks. The way they were able to remove the power from the N-word by using it. So from now on, it's what up, my Nazi? Hey, what up, my Nazi? Hey, what's hanging, my Nazi?
Nazi, please.
Thank God you did a hard eye there. What does it tell you, though? This is
the hard eye part is quick-witted. I appreciate that. But I mean, it's logically ridiculous. You know, Black people were called the N-word. We were the victims of abuse. We were the victims of state violence. We were the victims of enslavement. We were on the right side of history and the wrong side of white supremacy. We redeemed a word that was dehumanizing us, that reflected the world's antipathy toward us. The N-word was a cudgel used against us, despite the fact that we were human beings. It was used to dehumanize us. Nazi was not a word used against the innocent. Nazi wasn't a word used against the victims. The Nazis were the evil. The Nazis were the vile, disgusting, morally atrocious people. The Nazis were the ones who deserved accountability, not redemption. So even to compare Black people who are called the N-word to Nazis is another act of racism. And I don't think he thought about it that way, but you should. It's evil. It's disgusting. Let's stop joking about Hitler. Let's stop joking about the N-word. Let's stop joking about Nazis, particularly when that ain't your fight. And what I mean by that is, I don't think there's a Jewish person around who would joke about Nazis in the way that Greg just did. But if they did, it wouldn't be my place necessarily to say, hey, stop it. I wouldn't like it, but it wouldn't be my business. But Greg, it's not your business. It's not for you to say we need to redeem the word Nazi. And again, I know you're being funny. I know you don't actually think Nazis are good. And I understand the idea that you're trying to reply to what you see as a kind of hyperbolic, excessive, and unreasonable criticism from the left against the right. I get all of it. So this isn't a failure of me comprehending. I'm saying that regardless of your reason, it's not okay. It's not funny, and we shouldn't play with the Nazi word. It's not okay. Anyway, we're gonna cover those two stories today, and I'm glad to do it. Even though they're not upbeat stories, I'm glad to have covered them at all. Real quick, a happier story. You know, we gotta talk about some hip hop legendary shit, right? Real quick. Raekwon is back, and he's back to reclaim the throne. And he's brought Nas, Wu-Tang and Griselda with him. And I'm talking about the Emperor's New Clothes. It drops July 18th under mass appeal. That's a monumental moment in hip hop. Whenever Raekwon drops something, it's monumental. Whenever anybody in the Wu drops something, it's monumental. But this is Raekwon's first solo album in 7 years. And from what I'm hearing, I haven't heard it yet, but from what I'm hearing, it is a classic. I mean, I'm talking Ghostface, Meth, Inspector Deck, Conway the Machine, Westside Gun, and of course, The Street's Disciple, God's Son, Nas Esco is on the album as well. This ain't even just a feature list. It sounds like legendary hip hop ciphers. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a different space that Raekwon is entering, and I'm so glad, especially at a moment where so much good hip hop is coming out. We just heard great albums from Nas the last few years, of course. We just saw Malice and Pusha T just put out an amazing album that's getting all the hype that it deserves. Wu-Tang is on tour right now, about to do it's what they call its farewell tour. We've just seen fire albums from so many people. I'm just grateful and happy to see more. Anyway, this album marks a powerful comeback for Raekwon. His last album was The Wild, that came out in 2017. And he made it clear Wu ain't done either. On IG Live, he talks about how hard it is to get Wu-Tang Clan back in one room. But he also said he's announcing another album on Cuban Links Day. That's August 1st, by the way, if you didn't know. That's 29 years after he dropped Only Built for Cuban Links, which I can't believe is 29 years old. Oh my God, how old am I? Anyway, but this album is just one part of a bigger blueprint. Mass Appeal's Legend Has It series. I don't know if y'all know about the Legend Has It series, but they're putting out full projects from Slick Rick, from Premier and Nas together, De La, Ghostface, and even a Big L joint. Rest in peace to the legend Big L from Harlem's finest. This is I love what Mass Appeal is doing. I love what hip hop is doing. I love the fact that we're at an era in hip hop where the legends, where the hip hop gods are coming out and they're putting out music, and they're showing that good music can be made even when you're over 40, even when you're over 50. So shout out to the chef, shout out to everybody putting out great music, and everybody make sure you check me out tonight on Night School. We're going to do a full deep dive on a few issues that are in today's news, but I wanted to make sure that y'all didn't miss last night, because I know I've been a little out of the mix lately, and it's not because I don't care, it's because my body and mind just aren't keeping up with my spirit and heart. So I'm trying to find a way to keep those, to align those things, and to be a little bit healthier and a little bit better to myself. But I'll see y'all tonight on Night School. Peace.